Welcome to Armchair Experts on Experts. I'm Dan Shepard, joined by Lily Padman.
Hi.
Today we have David Fajgenbaum, who is a physician, scientist, and best-selling author. His books are Chasing My Cure and We Get It. This is an incredible story of a guy who cured his own disease that he was actively dying of.
And working hard on curing others. This is wild and so cool.
Very cool. And he was a football stud. Talk about mixed messages.
And he went to college with a perfect 10 Charlie, as you'll hear.
Yes. Also, if you're moved by this episode, which I think you will be, and you want to donate to Every Cure, please go to www.everycure.org. Please enjoy David Fajgenbaum. Armchair Expert is proud to have Alexa Plus as our presenting sponsor. The all-new Alexa Plus is your smart, proactive AI assistant. Just chat naturally about anything and watch your to-do list disappear. It learns your style and anticipates what's next across Echo, Fire TV, and more. Learn more at amazon.com/new Alexa.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Hi,
David. I'm so nice to meet you.
How are you? Good to meet you.
Doing great. I was just sharing with Monica that
Charlie?
Yes, it's so
exactly.
exciting.
I know. I just learned this mere minutes ago myself.
We just FaceTimed him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we
Oh,
FaceTimed him, said
Were you
hi.
recording, I hope?
Well, we were over in the corner.
Oh, that's not going to work.
So not really. But yeah, since we weren't recording, David is good friends with Perfect 10. We call him Perfect 10 Charlie on this show.
You can't be surprised.
I'm not surprised at all.
Georgetown,
very
right.
good school.
Very prestigious.
I mean, David's gone to all the good schools.
He
So.
really has.
Way
He's
too much
gone
school.
Too many good schools. It's almost like a sickness. At some
Ding,
point.
ding, ding.
Tell me.
Because David had a sickness.
Oh.
Hello.
I didn't realize we're at the making light of it part. Yeah, but that's great. We should start there. Welcome. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Wonderful. So yeah, as Monty was just saying, I was working out appropriately to receive a text from Charlie, and I was like, Formula One race, yes, expected.
Oh, sure.
I think you're interviewing my friend Dave. And I was thinking, how could he possibly know this doctor?
Right?
And then, of course, you were his quarterback.
That's right. We play football at Georgetown. And you guys are a couple of the people who actually know Georgetown as a football team. A lot of people don't know about our team.
I don't know if without Charlie
Yeah.
I would have known. And then also, even if I knew, I wouldn't have guessed it was Division I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
I
you?
didn't know. I went to Georgia, so
Yeah.
different.
And you know, we have like a bulldog
level.
mascot, but we had to change from being the Georgetown Bulldogs because like there's the Georgia
Too
Bulldogs.
close.
So we're the Georgetown Hoyas. I don't know if you've heard this.
Oh,
whole
yeah, go
thing.
Hoyas.
Go Hoyas. So
What's a
yeah.
Hoya?
it means what in Greek, and so apparently
Jesus.
it
Such
came
a-
about.
So academic.
Exactly.
Yeah, there were some priests that were screaming Hoya Sax, which means what rocks. Then people would say Georgetown, and
Oh,
all of a sudden we're the
wow.
Hoyas, which means we're the whats.
And so were you guys pals?
We were, yeah,
You were?
absolutely.
Yeah, they're good friends.
They're best friends.
This is so sim.
But Charlie will be the first to admit he ran with a real meathead clique within the football program. Were you immersed in that?
So if you open up the book real quick, I
you
showed
need
Monica
to.
a picture. Open it up and go to this middle picture.
Oh, I've already looked at your body.
Well,
Yeah.
so I
If
think
that's where we're going with this.
that middle
Yeah, I
picture.
know your
in the
body very well.
I just don't look anything like I look like now. I mean, I'm like fully embraced dad bod these days. But
Were you in the middle?
oh yeah, the very middle.
It's here.
There's a picture there. So that
I mean, I
was-
know this picture by heart because I love a great body.
But point being, that's what I looked like. So yes, of course, I was. You could have called me a meathead back then, but I was pre-med and I was like, I had intentions to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What a catch. Can you believe?
I
mean, if I'm in college and there's a pre-med,
forget
Well, I sort of
it.
Man who
laughed.
looks
my
like
my
this?
poor wife, like she started dating me when I looked like that, and then she's stuck with this. It's rough.
But he was in a he was a lineman, yeah. He was a defensive.
He was a tight
player.
end. He was
a tight end then.
So I used to throw footballs, Charlie.
Oh, and you could count on him.
I always.
I would imagine that is a special relationship between the quarterback and the tight end. Yeah,
tight end especially because I mean both they're the one position in the field that you both are throwing passes to, and they're also blocking for you, right? And like you have a special relationship with your offensive line because like your life is sort of in their hands.
Gronk was a tight end.
Gronk was a tight end.
Yeah, so of course TB12 and Gronk are besties. That makes sense. How are Travis Kelce and
Mahomes?
Mahomes,
They're
are they?
good friends.
I think they're tight,
They're
right?
very
I
good
think so.
friends.
Okay.
so.
But let's start in Raleigh, North Carolina, because your dad was also a physician.
That's right.
Still,
Yep, that's right.
What kind of physician was he?
Orthopedic surgeon.
Ironic.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you, how did your physician father feel about you playing football in the first place? But I would imagine even compounded by this being an orthopedic surgeon.
Like that he wouldn't want
Well,
it.
he's probably observed a lot of injuries.
Well, the interesting thing is, it's almost that's true, but also he was an orthopedic surgeon for the NC State football team, and so so he was like taking care of people, that were playing football, and that sort of led to why I like fell in love with football so much.
Right, because you were hanging. Would you get to go with Dad?
Exactly.
Okay, and were you a standout in high school? Did you have to what were the challenges? Did you have a hard time putting on weight? What were the?
So I'm like an okay athlete, but I work really, really hard.
But David, I have to tell you something. Every athlete says that. Like, I finally want one to say, like, I'm a fucking physical phenom. I hit the genetic lottery.
Charlie Curtis.
Oh no, he'll tell you he works so hard.
No, he says he's the best. He says he's the best. He says he's the best athlete. One time we were all at a vacation and they were playing the men were playing horseshoes, and my friend Jess, who is very athletic but has not done athletics in a long time, and Jess was kind of dominating at horseshoes, and everyone was getting very upset.
Yeah. It was confronting their stereotypes, to say the least.
And I said, Jess is the best athlete here, and Charlie did not like that.
Charlie's competitive for sure. So to give a sense for how crazy I was about being this working like nuts, I had posters all over my wall as a 10-year-old. They were tracking how fast I could run, how far I could throw. I was totally obsessed and just worked like crazy.
Yeah.
Your dad must have loved this. Yeah. If I had a little guy and he was taking something this serious and working so hard, it would have just made my heart explode.
I think so. I think both my parents, they did love it, but I think they also were a little concerned. He's really focused on this thing. Is this too much?
Well, my concern would be boy, he's given in his whole life. If it doesn't work out in some capacity, he's going to be heartbroken.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it worked out. You did get recruited to play at Georgetown.
That's exactly right.
Did you have other offers, other schools?
I did. I was recruited by Ivy League schools, so Yale and Cornell and Georgetown. So those were my, and then a couple other smaller schools in the North Carolina, South Carolina region too.
Did you pick Georgetown for some kind of family tradition, or?
There were a few things. Georgetown had this pre-health program, which wasn't just a typical pre-med where you're taking basic science, but it actually had where you actually could learn about the human body and learn about health and disease, and that was interesting to me at the time.
Yeah.
And then I loved the quarterback coach at Georgetown. Joe Moorhead is amazing. He went on to be the head coach of Mississippi State and O-coordinator at Penn State. And it was his first job as at Georgetown. I was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. He's going to be incredible. And he is incredible.
And when you went there, you were already going to do medicine, yeah?
When I went there, I was really interested in sports medicine. I was really interested in exercise and diet and nutrition, all that sort of stuff.
So does mom's glioblastoma change courses here?
Changed everything. It was just a couple weeks after I got to Georgetown was when my dad called and told me that my mom had brain cancer. And I immediately went home to be with her. And just a couple of days later, she had brain surgery. It was heartbreaking.
Whoa.
So it was operable? Rarely can you operate on them, yeah?
So this was operable. It was in the front left part of her brain, and so it was it was in a particular location where they open up your brain during surgery, open up your skull, and they actually wake you up once they've opened it up. And the reason they do that is because they want to start cutting out tumor, but they don't want to cut out too much because then you won't be able to speak. And so they did this surgery. It took 4.5 hours, and my sisters, my dad, and I were just terrified. And I remember they said she made it through surgery, and we're so happy. We're gonna go back to see her. And I remember we're crying because we're so happy. She's just there's so many emotions. And I told my sisters and dad, I was we got to stop crying. Let's be strong for mom. And we go back to see her, and I'll never forget this. She had a wrap around her head, and she had this bulb coming out of it. It was basically like draining the fluid. And she was sort of sitting up like I am, and we just didn't know what to say. And we walked in, and my mom pointed to her head, and she looked at us, and she said, "Chiquita banana lady." And we just like burst into laughter.
Good
Like
for her.
she was making this joke for us, like the wrap
alleviate the-
and the bulb, like that she looked like the Chiquita banana lady. And like, I loved it so much because it was like, she just had a 4.5-hour brain surgery. She has brain cancer. But what's the first thing she's thinking about? Like, what can she say to make us laugh? And so like, we're crying and we're snot crying and we're like, our mom's still here. Like, first off, she's speaking. Like, we didn't know if she'd be able to. And then for her to make that joke was just like, it was just everything.
Now, am I, like, do I have a Bader-Meinhof? It feels like I've heard an inordinate amount of women in the last 10 years get this glioblastoma. Is it like asymmetric to women?
I haven't heard about it being more common in women, but it does feel like it's just getting more common. I mean, it's just, it's
We
such
know
a
like
horrible
3
form of
different
cancer.
people in our circle.
Related to one person.
Well, one person knows 3 people. We know that person.
And one of the
Heartbreaking.
people is a man who was affected by her uncle.
Oh, okay.
But
So there's no weird
I haven't
gender
seen
thing
a gender
happening
thing
with
with that, but it's heartbreaking. I mean, it's just one of the worst out there.
So the surgery, what did that buy her?
It bought her about a year of clean scans,
Was it followed by radiation?
radiation and chemotherapy.
Okay.
And this was back in 2003, 2004. Got her a year of clean scans. She either came up to Georgetown every weekend or I went home every weekend to North Carolina to see them. So got really special time with them. And I remember about 9 months in when they did the first like big scan after it's been a while and it was clean and it was just like I think that was one of the first times where I just had like the most intense tears of joy of my life. It was just sort of like, oh my gosh, a clean scan. Like, this is amazing. But then it was just a few months later is when it started to grow back. And she passed away 15 months after she got sick.
Oh, man. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's fucking
That's
rough. So
awful.
you were
So I
in
was
your
a sophomore.
sophomore year?
October of sophomore year.
Also, you're in school, you're in college.
Yeah, do you see like a dip in performance in all categories for a minute? Do you have or do you get psychotype A and like work even harder to ignore it all?
That's more the latter. So, and part of it was like the moment my mom got sick with brain cancer, all those like posters I had about football and like all the thoughts of it, like that was like out of my mind. And it was like, I want to dedicate my life to finding treatments for people like her. Like it was like, I'm not interested in sports medicine. I'm not even really interested in like football right now. Like I just want to be a doctor because I want to dedicate my life to helping patients like her. And actually, so that meant that was like now the very beginning of my freshman year, now I'm like locked in it because I'm like, if I'm going to be at school while my mom's going through this, like I'm going to lock in and I'm going to become a doctor and help people like her. And a couple weeks before she passed away, I promised her that. That was like the last thing I ever told her. I said, Mom, I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to dedicate my life to trying to find treatments for patients like you.
Wow.
What did she say? Because I have kids, you have kids. If one of my little girls said to me, I go, oh, honey, do not burden yourself with me at all. You go have whatever life you want. You don't know. What was her response to that?
Her response, so because of the brain tumor in the part that was in, she didn't have too many words left. But sort of like it still hits me today. One of the things that she could say and the thing that she said was unconditional love. And like, again, she didn't have too many words. And so like that was sort of like something she could say.
Wow.
And it just like, and she started to cry and I cried and like,
Wow, how special.
Well, dude, you gave her the ultimate gift, which is I only hope for one thing in my life. And if I can be looking at my little girls when I die, I'm going to be like stoked. Yeah. That's as good as it gets.
It is.
Okay, so you get hardcore about medicine. You graduate from Georgetown. That's right. You go to Oxford. What's this detour? You get your master's in Oxford?
That's right. Yeah. You know, during my time at Georgetown, I now became obsessed with medicine and cancer treatment, cancer prevention, and I learned that there was a program at Oxford focused on health promotion and disease prevention, and they were particularly focused on heart disease prevention, but there was data coming out around that time that diet, physical inactivity, and smoking can actually all contribute to cancer risk. And so it was this idea that like, well, maybe I could go study with these people who are focused on heart disease prevention, we could apply it to cancer prevention.
Did you like it?
I did. I loved the academic part of it. I have to admit, I didn't like get along. Like I didn't like mesh as well with Oxford students as maybe like I did with like my buddies from Georgetown or from Penn. I don't know.
Sure,
It just
whatever cultural gap
it
there
was just a little. Yeah, and it's funny. I played football at Oxford. They have an American football team.
Were you all ridiculously good compared to everyone?
Really fun. It was really fun. It was like,
You were
it was
sandbagging.
fun. But what was cool is that it was a joint program between Oxford University and Oxford Brookes, Oxford Brookes is like the local state school that's right next to Oxford, and I just like got along so much better with the guys from the Brookes side of things.
Yeah.
Interesting. Were you like, can you be objective enough to answer if you were exceptional at Georgetown or if everyone at Georgetown is like you?
In terms of
Achievement.
I think that I think that the biggest thing that I would say is that Georgetown has this really special focus on helping other people. Like the motto is men and women for others. And I think that was the perfect place for me to be at that moment in my life, to be in an environment where like literally the walls say like men and women for others, like, take what's gone on to you and help other people.
Wow.
That was the perfect environment because I shared one part of the promise to my mom that with you all, and that was that I would become a doctor. The other promise is I told her I was going to create an organization in her memory. Her name was Anne-Marie Fajgenbaum. Her initials were AMF. And I was like, I'm going to call it AMF. I don't know what it's going to stand for,
Wow.
but it's going to be for grieving college students because I was really struggling with what I was, this anticipatory grief. And so we started at AMF and then ended up spreading that to other college campuses. And I think if I was at any other college campus, I don't know if that like immediate, like I'm going through a lot of pain, I'm going to now create something to help other people. I don't know if I would have done that anywhere else. So I think Georgetown was like the right environment for that.
Now, David, I'm a teeny bit suspicious though that I don't know if you were you dealing with it? Do you think you were dealing with it?
Dealing with my grief?
With your grief?
No, I think that the way that I decided to start dealing with my grief was this sort of, it's called like instrumental grieving, where like you create something and you pour it into that thing, and it's like, and this is actually something that a lot of men do when they deal with grief.
Yes.
They channel it to something.
That's
and so
right.
like I created AMF, and now I'm like sitting in support group meetings with other people dealing with grief, and they're talking about AMF, and that for me was like how I tried to deal with it.
Yeah. It sounds a bit like you tried to treat it with action.
Yes,
as
exactly.
opposed to maybe perhaps
Sitting with it. Yes, for sure.
in discomfort.
Absolutely. Right. It was like, if you start feeling some discomfort, I'm like, I'm going to go work on this nonprofit right now.
Yes. Okay, good.
Yes.
That was kind of my hunch.
Yes.
And then, of course, that just waits there.
Yeah.
And at some point, it does start just kind of seeping out. How delayed was it for you? Because I lost my dad when he was 62, and I just had all these waves of like, first was just getting him through the whole thing. There's a lot of action there. Then there's action in the in the aftermath. And it's just honestly like years, and it continues to be like waves of like, oh, right, wow, I have a sadness now that I didn't allow myself to have then. And that's 13 years ago.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that you lost your dad. So I've had those waves, and I think that you're right. If I sat with it more when I was 19, then I probably would have had maybe fewer or less, waves.
Also, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
There's
Exactly.
no way to know.
Gotten a drinking problem and fucking gone nowhere.
For sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that I will say that the one thing is that because my thing that I was channeling my time into was like schoolwork and this grief support group, in that grief support group, I'm talking about. So like, I think I got maybe some of that out because like that was the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when I went on to get sick, that brought back a lot because all of a sudden I'm now laying in the hospital bed and my dad and my sisters are around me. And I was with them before. Like I was on that side.
Yes, and you can't get into action because you are strapped
Exactly.
to this thing.
True.
So let's get to there. So we leave Oxford, we go to Penn.
That's right, for med school.
And you're in your third year of med school?
That's right.
And what's the first symptom? You're like, everything's great, you're humming along, you're your third college in however many years.
That's right. I mean, I was very healthy still. I actually won a bench pressing contest a couple months before that, like very healthy.
How much did you put up?
I think it was like 325.
Jesus Christ, wonderful. Okay, great job.
So very healthy. I am on an OBGYN rotation, which I'm now on the OB part of it. So like I delivered my first couple babies into the world, which in med school, that's like this like major highlight, right? It's like, that's like really, as incredible as it gets. I'll just share a quick story about the second patient I delivered. The parents were both older than me, as you can imagine, because like I'm like 25, and they're sort of like really concerned, like why is this like 25-year-old in here?
It's not what I want.
Like, exactly. It's like that's not what I want either. Like, trust me. And so I'm like, oh, and they come, and like the husband comes over and he's like, this isn't your first time, right? I was like, well, no, because it was my second time. And I was like, no, it's not my first time. You know, I'm a med student. I'm just learning. And anyway, I remember like delivering the baby and like baby's healthy and everything was all good. But then I remember like turning over like, it was my second time, but like your baby's really healthy and like everything's all good.
We got lucky.
Yeah.
We all got lucky today.
We're 2 for 2. We're 2 for 2.
Oh my God.
So that was just like, you know, maybe I got sick as payback for that. But within the next couple of weeks, I started feeling more tired than I ever felt before. Like fatigue that I'd been, you know, in school forever and I just never felt fatigue like that. And I started noticing like lumps and bumps in my neck, which turned out to be enlarged lymph nodes, and had abdominal pain. And then what was so weird was I noticed like fluid pooling around my ankles. And I was like, but I'm like this like healthy 25-year-old. Like what's going on?
Also, can we add, and I love the irony of this, is like you're also a dude. Like you're in medical school and you've probably ignored like 3 or 4 red flags, right?
For sure.
Yes, isn't this insane? Like you would think you'd be inoculated from this because you know about it. You're not.
No, exactly. I'm like literally feeling lumps in my neck. And I'm like
big lumps.
Oh. And I'm like, these feel like lymph nodes, like that patient I felt on who had lymphoma 2 months ago. I'm like, that's weird. Head on to something else. Like, I'm gonna keep reading. Like, keep studying this book. And it's why am I like not paying attention to any of this?
Yes.
And I think it's yes. There's probably a lot of reasons for it. But so the fatigue got so bad that I would see a patient and then I would go find an empty room and I would take an 8-minute nap. I'd set my alarm for 9 minutes. I'd wake up 8 minutes later. I'd go see another patient. I'd just keep doing that over and over again. I was taking caffeine pills. I was doing anything I could to stay awake. And so I took a medical school exam and then I'm sure I got like the worst grade ever. I never got my score back. But then I went down the hall to the emergency department and they did blood work.
Really quick, from feeling the inflamed lymph nodes.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay, so walking down the hall.
And I even remember when I was taking this med school exam, I was like, is it the answer A or B? And then I remember like in my brain, I thought to myself, I'm like, it doesn't matter because I'm about to die. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, why did I think that? Like, I'm I'm about to die. What? But then I was like, I need to go down the hall. And so like I finished the exam, I walked down the hall to the ER.
Can we take 1 second right there though?
Yeah.
Because that is a gift to have those moments a few times in your life. To experience a right sizing of what's important. Just a few times in your life, and hopefully it doesn't kill you. But I've had a couple of those, right, where it's like, oh, right, I don't give a flying fuck about all the stuff I thought I cared about. It's a unique feeling.
It is.
Like for you to say you don't give a shit how you did on the test is really profound.
Yeah, and I think it's an important feeling like for us to share with other people because the important thing is to start putting your mind in that place before you have to experience it yourself. Like, don't wait until you're 80 years old and like, and then you're like, oh crap, I wish I had thought this, right? Like, I think it's so important that you share that.
But I don't know that you can get.
But yeah, I used to have to be there.
I don't know if you can borrow it. Like, I think you just have to experience it, unfortunately.
Maybe do a medically supervised overdose.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully
we'll
don't
take everyone
have
as
to
close to
experience
death as we can, and then we'll
open up a clinic that's like medically supervised overdose.
It is normally death related, though. It's moments where either someone around you is sick or has died, or you yourself are dealing with some health issue. So yeah, it does suck that you have to like experience it like that.
Yes, yes. The main thing has to be in
so
threat.
bad.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, we go down the hallway.
Yeah, I go down the hall. They do some blood work, and you know, I'm a med student, so I'm like used to like being on the other side, and like it usually takes a while to come back and see the patient, unless there's something really serious, and then they come back really quickly.
Yeah,
the doctor comes back like 10 minutes later, or maybe it was 15 minutes, but it was quick. He said, "David, your liver, your kidneys, and your bone marrow are shutting down. We have to hospitalize you right away." And I'm like, wait, what? I was just like, I delivered a baby a couple weeks ago. Like, I'm like, I just did it. What do you mean? My organs are shutting down. And so they hospitalized me. And then over the next couple weeks, I go from my organ shutting down to being unconscious, gaining 100 pounds of fluid all over my body.
Did you see the picture?
100 pounds of fluid all over my body because my liver and my kidneys weren't working.
So everything's just backing up.
Exactly, because you're not urinating at all. So the fluid's just going everywhere. I had a retinal hemorrhage, which made me temporarily blind in my left eye, so I couldn't see anything out of my left eye. I
couldn't throw any passes. Depth perception's gone.
Depth perception's gone. That's all I could think about, actually. I was like, darn it. This is going to really hurt my like, backyard football.
10 feet or 25 feet away.
Exactly. And so I was getting so sick, and because of all the organ shutting down, I was on dialysis because kidneys weren't working. I was getting daily transfusions of red blood cells and platelets. And like they were just trying to keep me alive, and no one knew what the diagnosis was.
In that state, is your white blood cell count just like off the charts?
So white blood cell count was pretty normal at that time. I don't have a good explanation for why. White blood cells were normal, but like the platelets and the red blood cells were just collapsed. And you need platelets in order to prevent you, like basically from you bleeding out at all times. Like because you have these little micro bleeds that happen all over your body, including your brain, and your platelets just sort of sop it up. Always. It's like fixalat all over your body all day, every day. Yeah. And so when you get as low as mine, where you're in this critical state where like you can have a little bleed in your brain and then you die from it.
Let's take a second for your poor fucking father who lost his wife. And now he's
and my sister. And he spent every night in the hospital room by my side. So like, you know how they just like pull out couch things?
Horrifying.
He spent every night with me. My sisters were amazing.
Also, you told your mom you were going to be okay. And then that was another promise. And then like.
No, I thought about that. I thought about a lot, the promise I made her, because I was like, I promised her I was going to help people. I was like, and I've just been like working
now
to help people.
Sucking up the system.
I was thinking about that. Like, now you say it, I'm like, darn it. No, but I was thinking I'm not going to help anyone.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I did all this training and now I'm not going to help anyone. I told her I would. And so with Francisco, he came in to see me and he like leaned in to give me a hug, and you know, he's a med student also, so he has like a stethoscope around his neck. And I remember it like it was like slow motion because he comes and gives me a hug, and I see the stethoscope coming because any sort of like trauma to my body could create one of these bleeds. And I see the stethoscope coming, and it just like hits me like right between the eyes, and we're just like looking at one another. And for like a split second, we're like, "Oh my gosh, did he just like kill me?" Like my best friend just like hit me in the head with the stethoscope, and then we like were sort of like still for a second, and then like I didn't like black out because of an internal hemorrhage, and then we were okay, and then we laughed about it, but like. It's just, it's crazy. That was what things were like back then when I was in the hospital.
Yeah. Okay, so they end up giving you like a crazy cocktail of chemotherapy.
That's right.
As a last ditch effort.
How long were you at this point, how long were you in the hospital?
So I was in the hospital for 7 weeks before they gave me this first they actually gave me high dose steroids actually. And we didn't have a diagnosis. So first they gave me high dose steroids and like things start to improve. Okay. And then 4 weeks later, it's roaring again. And this time is when I had my last rites read to me. This was now 11 weeks into my illness, right when we finally had the diagnosis. So diagnosed with Castleman disease, this rare disease where your immune system attacks your vital organs. Right around the time of diagnosis, they give me first one chemotherapy. And thankfully, that's enough to sort of hold things at bay. But then 4 weeks later, I'm back in the ICU again. And that's when they give me 7 chemotherapies.
So yeah, your own immune system's killing you. And so they need to carpet bomb your immune system.
Exactly.
So that's non-functional.
Exactly.
And that works.
It does.
We think.
It does, yeah, it works. And, the time they give it to me now, it's the third time that I'm like on death's doorstep when they give it to me. And they tell me before, like, we're out of options, so we're going to carpet bomb you with every chemotherapy we can think of at the highest dose possible. And I sort of like, remember closing my eyes and being like, well, this is it. Like, it's not going to happen. Hugged my family goodbye.
Was there any peace at any point during this?
I have to admit, during that 6-month period, there was like never a moment of, there was one moment of peace. And, but for the most part, it was like this like fight. Like, I can't believe this. Like, it was like such sadness.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
We are supported by Alexa Plus. All right, let me tell you about something I'm genuinely excited to talk about, the all-new Alexa Plus. Look, we're all juggling a million things these days, and this thing is designed to actually make your life easier. It's like having a conversation with someone who really gets what you need. Picture this. You're planning a night out, and instead of opening 12 different apps, you just have one conversation with Alexa, and it handles everything. Dinner reservations, entertainment, the works. It learns your style and puts thousands of services at your fingertips. What I love about this concept is how natural it feels. You're not barking commands, you're just talking. And it works across your compatible devices, Echo, Fire TV, and more. It's your all-new, smart, proactive AI assistant. And honestly, the idea of having AI that actually anticipates what you need, that sounds pretty amazing to me. Check it out at amazon.com/new Alexa. With the diagnosis of Castleman, that doesn't get you shit, right? Because there's no real treatment for Castleman. Do they even know? I got quite curious whether we think this is a genetic condition or environmental. Do we have any sense of how Castleman comes about?
Yeah, so my subtype's called idiopathic multicenter Castleman's. Idiopathic means we don't know the cause, and so you don't ever want to have a disease that's called idiopathic.
Yeah.
But we do know that even within idiopathic, that about 5% of patients will have a family member with Castleman's as well, and so those people we feel pretty confident there's some sort of genetic heritability. But in the rest of us, we don't know what triggers this thing. So I've run a lab, and our lab does spend time trying to figure this out. And we have found some what are called somatic mutations. So they're basically not mutations you're born with, but mutations you acquire over the course of your life. It's in the same way that cancer occurs because you acquire mutations in your life in those cells. We're observing somatic mutations in Castleman's patients.
And
So
where is that centered? Where's generally the
So generally in the lymph node, and part of the reason that sort of makes sense is that the lymph node is sort of the home base for your immune system. So like if you're fighting an infection, you'll notice your lymph nodes get enlarged, and that's because your immune cells are fighting something, and they go back to the lymph node and they talk to one, they communicate, and they go back and they fight. They come back and they go out and fight, and so the lymph node is like the home base for your immune system, and so we think these are occurring in the lymph node, and that therefore all these immune cells are going out and wreaking havoc.
Right. So they're leaving mutated, and so they're not good at reading its own DNA.
Yes. The big thing is that the key in your immune system, in both of your immune systems, you want your immune system to be in surveillance mode, which means it's turned off, looking for bad things. And when it sees a bad thing, you want it to kill that bad thing. Then you want to turn itself back off and go back into surveillance mode. What we find in Castleman's is that our immune system turns on and then it doesn't turn off. And when your immune system's on and it's releasing all these bad things, it starts attacking healthy, good things like your heart, your lungs, your kidneys.
That's autoimmune disorders in general, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. And autoimmune disorders typically are focused on one particular organ or one tissue type. So it might be the joints or it might be the heart.
I have psoriatic arthritis.
Yes, and so that's your skin and it's also your joints.
Yes,
and so,
yes.
And so Castleman's is like that, but it seems to be more non-specific. Like it's not directed at the skin or the joints like in psoriatic arthritis, but it's more
All
general.
over.
Okay, so this intense carpet bombing works.
Yep.
But it works for how long?
For about a year.
A year.
Yep. So now I'm out of the hospital for a year. I'm back in med school. And by the way, my girlfriend Caitlin and I were dating, and we're like, somehow she like wants to stay with me during all this.
Yeah.
And yes.
You look rough.
I look real rough.
You did a 180.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you had
have that very
100 pounds of fluid.
Yeah.
And that kind of distended stomach you get when you I forget what condition that's called. But yeah, there's a lot happening.
A lot's happening, yes.
When do we put the MBA in the mix? This is confusing me. When does the MBA come?
So the MBA comes 2 years after I get sick with Castleman's, because I spend the next 2 years, somewhat certainly battling my disease, but also when I have this relapse after I get the carpet bomb chemo, I decide I'm going to dedicate my life to trying to find a cure for Castleman's, for my disease. But it took getting the carpet bombing, and then I was actually put on an experimental drug that I would hope would keep me in remission. And it was after it didn't work that then I was like, I got to dedicate my life to this. And then it was in the course of trying to figure out a cure for Castleman's that I realized that the barriers in the way of a cure for Castleman's were not science and technology. They were like, can you get people to work together? And can you collect enough blood samples for research? And can you come up with the right strategy? And can you raise money? And like, these are like organizational business problems. And I was like, oh, the science is clear. It's like administrative stuff is going to prevent me from, solving this disease.
Yeah.
And actually, I mentioned that experimental drug. It's called ciltuximab. And it's hard for me to put into words what it meant when I got started on this drug, because Castleman's a rare disease. There's 18,000 human diseases, and more than half of them are very rare. And so like you probably never heard of literally 10,000 plus diseases ever.
Yeah.
Castleman's is one of those, super rare. And it's very rare for them to have a clinical trial of a drug that might work. Like 95% don't have any treatments. And so like mine actually had a trial. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I know there's no solutions, but maybe this drug's going to work. I was so hopeful. And I got put on it after the carpet bombing chemo. And I really believed and hoped that it would keep me in remission. And then, a little bit over a year later is when I had that relapse. And it all came back, and I'm back in the ICU with all my organs shutting down. And that was so difficult emotionally to go from like, I think we got it.
hopeful.
Like, this is the thing. Like, and I think it's going to keep me in remission. And I actually met other patients who were in remission. I like saw them. And they told me how they were in the ICU for months. One person had part of his bowel resected. He had all these strokes, and he was walking around on this drug. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can be that. I can be like him.
Yeah.
And then when it came back, it just wrecked me.
True vulnerability hits when you relapse like that. And you had 3 relapses in 5 years?
A total of 4 relapses of 5 episodes of this disease. So 4 relapses of it. And each one was so difficult for the emotional parts. I mean, obviously there was the physical part. I'm in the ICU, but like, because for each of them I'd gotten like really hopeful, and I was like, we did it. Like, we found it. And then it just all came back.
Okay, so when do you get the kind of breakthrough thought that maybe I should approach this in an off-label way? And let's just talk about off-labeling in medicine and how that works.
Sure. So it was during that big relapse, and now this is flare number 4, so the 3rd relapse. And my doctors explained to me, okay, you've now failed to respond to the only drug in development. Like, siltuximab is it. There's nothing else. It didn't work for you. And he said, all of your organs are shutting down. I'm going to try the same 7 chemotherapies again. There's just a few problems. One is that who knows if they're going to work again. You know, you've gotten them multiple times. They tend to lose their effectiveness as time goes on. 2, you're approaching the lifetime maximum of a drug called adriamycin. There's only so much of these chemos as you can actually get before they cause cancer and organ dysfunction on their own, like the drugs on their own. So you're approaching your lifetime max. So I don't know how many more times we can do this. And the third thing he said was, and there's nothing else that we can do. We've tried everything. There's nothing more we can do. And I mean, my sisters and my dad and my girlfriend Caitlin were sitting in the hospital room, and I remember we were just like heartbroken because he's telling us like,
end of the road.
Yeah.
This is it. Like, this is it. And again, we're crying, and it's like, it's horrible. And around, I don't know, maybe a minute or 2 of just like us all crying and bawling, I just remember thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, like, you just gave me 7 chemotherapies, and none of them were made for Castleman's. Like they were all made for lymphoma and myeloma, and like, and they worked. I know I keep relapsing, but like, how do we know there's not like an 8th drug out there? Like, did we try all the other drugs?
Because there's 4,000.
There's 4,000 drugs.
4,000 FDA-approved
drug.
prescriptions one could be given.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like, I've gotten like 10 of them now between the different drugs. Even like, there's
nothing.
still like a lot left, right?
Yeah.
And not to say that like every drug is possible that it could, but how can you tell me that like we've tried everything?
Yeah.
We're at the end of the road, and we've only tried 7 things.
And if they hadn't shown, if I hadn't benefited from those 7, I wouldn't have thought that, right? Because like they'd be like, oh, well, nothing else is going to work. I'm like, okay, they're probably right, nothing else will work. But they gave me drugs that were working. And so that became really clear. So I told my family, I was like, I'm going to dedicate my life to trying to find a drug for this disease. And they sort of were like, all right, Dave, like, I don't know. They weren't particularly optimistic at that moment.
As someone who loves someone going through that stuff, you're always really having a hard time debating whether or not you're going to snuff out their hope or help them get to the part where we have closure. So it's like, that's what you're trying to navigate. Like, do we keep or do we like, no, my love, it's time for us to take stock of all the good stuff and have as much gratitude as we can have on the way out. It's hard.
It's really hard because I also think back to like with my mom, you know, probably 2 of the most important like months of my life were the 2 months after the cancer was coming back, where we just were like present with one another. We were like looking at old home videos together. We were like, you know, we were
not
spending that time
fighting.
Exactly. And then I like look at how I handle this. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't do that at all. Like we watched no home videos. Like I was like in the lab trying to figure out, is there a drug that could save me? And I'm like fighting, right? That's it really was. I was like, let's go. So it's hard to put those 2 things together.
So once you have this idea, where do you start?
Yeah.
Again, there's 4,000 drugs. Where do you even start? You start doing classes of drugs, and how do you start weeding out?
Great question. So the first thing I did was to try to start to understand, what does the world know about this disease? And so there were 2,000 papers. I read those 2,000 papers to try to understand, like, what do we know about Castleman disease? Second, I connected with all those doctors for all the papers that were written to try to start connecting them through an organization called the Castleman Disease Collaborative Network. So I created this nonprofit to basically, let's centralize all the doctors, the patients, the loved ones. Let's get an understanding for what do we know? Because like because I even heard there was a doctor in Japan that was trying this one drug. I'm like, well, I want to try that drug.
How are you doing all this? Weren't you so tired? I mean, your organs are in flux.
Well,
How are you
I should
doing
mention
this?
that I did none of this for the month that I was in the ICU. So like I made the promise to my
Okay.
family, and then I'm out for the next 4 weeks. Sorry, for the next month I'm like out fighting for my life.
Yeah.
But it's then once I started to make it through that then it's like, all right, let's get to work.
Okay.
And so started reading papers, started reaching out to doctors. I couldn't do anything when I was in the hospital. So coming up with sort of like this network. And then the second thing was, let me look at all the related diseases that are kind of like Castleman's, that are weird immune disorders, like psoriatic arthritis. Like what's out there? What are all these drugs that exist for other conditions?
Because we would agree, these labels are arbitrary. They're very arbitrary.
They are
There's
very
a
arbitrary.
doctor dealing with 6 patients over here that calls it this thing. It could be the same thing, right?
Exactly. And the drug companies, when they pick a disease to pursue, they've got a lot to pick from. Like they picked, the IL-17 drug for psoriatic arthritis, but they could have picked, a lung disease with the same drug. And they pick for a lot of reasons that have nothing to do with biology and nothing to do with whether it's going to work. It's like they have to figure out the most profitable opportunities.
Yeah, kind of market.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, how
Where's
big is the
best
market? For
Exactly.
this?
And so it's like, well, just because it's not approved for it doesn't mean it's not going to work. So my mindset was, okay, let's figure out what we know about Castleman's. Let's start looking at related diseases that are like Castleman's. And then the last bucket, which was probably the scariest, or at least the most challenging, was I'm going to start collecting blood samples on myself and start trying to do research on my own samples. And the reason that was scary is because I didn't really know all that much about laboratory research. I found this amazing colleague at Penn who gave me some space in her lab, but I could do the first two. Like I could build a network, and I built that organization AMF. I could, understand what other diseases there were, but starting to do experiments, that was certainly the most challenging. And so, over the next year, built out the network and started identifying, potential related drugs, was storing my blood samples every couple of weeks in the lab.
And so as opposed to you taking one of the medicines and monitoring your symptoms, you're actually able to apply the medicine to your blood in some kind of a Petri dish and observe it?
So what I was doing was actually trying to understand in my blood samples, which of my immune cells were turned on, what were the proteins that were elevated in my blood versus healthy people, and see if that could give me a fingerprint for what was wrong in my disease. My idea was that if I could figure out what was wrong, I could then see, is there a drug that can reverse the thing that's wrong? Like if something's too high here, I find a drug that can maybe make it go down.
Yes.
So that was that third bucket in my mind that I wanted to do.
How hard was just the figuring out which of these T cells or immune cells were the ones that were problematic? That feels hard enough right there.
It is hard. That's hard. And so, I didn't even get to the third bucket before I then had my fifth relapse. I was just storing these samples.
God.
So storing the samples, and by that stage, I started business school because I'd finished med school and I was in business school and had this relapse. And I had this long spreadsheet, and I remember now I had a couple drugs at the top that I thought maybe we should try. Because they were used in related diseases. I hadn't yet done the experiments on my own blood to figure out what could be maybe useful for me. And I remember I talked to my doctors about trying this one drug called cyclosporin. We tried it. We were so hopeful, and then it didn't work at all. Like my disease was just roaring through it. Organs were shutting down. All the markers were bad. I was getting worse and worse every day. And then I asked my doctors to try the number 2 drug on my list, this drug called IVIG. And it requires an infusion. I remember I'm going to get that infusion, and my doctor, who I asked to do this, she asked me, she was like, "Do you want some fries with that order, David?" Because I'm asking for this IVIG.
That was going to be one of my questions. How hard is it to get? My question was, were you able to prescribe yourself this stuff because you had your medical degree, or were you reliant? And how hard is it to get other doctors to sign on to this approach?
I was reliant on the other doctors, and it's appropriately hard to get these medicines, right? It should be hard. It shouldn't just be the drugs get thrown all over the place. But I think that while it was appropriately hard, and I needed to show them evidence and reasoning, I was dying. They tried everything. They'd already told me they tried everything. It wasn't they already told me they didn't have anything else for me. So now I'm telling them things that maybe we could try.
There wasn't a lot at risk.
I'm here to be a lab rat now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was willing to take on all the risks. And it's I know that the drug could kill me, but I'm not going to live much longer.
Right.
And so the IVIG, they give me the infusion, and everything stops and halts. All the things that were getting worse halt, and
in what time frame?
within a couple days. So it's halting, and I'm with Caitlin, and this is my girlfriend, we're engaged, and we're
scared to trust it as well, though?
Yeah.
Well, I
You let
sort
it
of
rip.
wish I was. It was just I let it rip.
You're just so hopeful. It's so nice.
I was IVIG, we did it. I remember literally saying the words, "We did it, Caitlin." We did it. And so a couple more days go by, and then all of a sudden things start getting worse again.
Oh.
And then I'm like, this can't be. Maybe it can't be. We go in for blood work. It's getting horrible. Within a couple weeks, now I'm back in the ICU with everything shutting down. And I just tried the two things that were like the top of our list. Like I gave it my best, and I was like, we've done it. Like we tried our best. I wasn't ready to like fully accept it, but at least like we tried it, and sort of I had the feeling like we tried and we failed. I tried these two things. I worked so hard, and then my doctors gave me the same 7 chemotherapies. This time they gave me the highest dose they'd ever given a human of this one drug called etoposide, and I remember saying goodbye to my family again, and saying goodbye to Caitlin, and I was just heartbroken about it. I mean, Caitlin and I were supposed to get married 5 months later, and I just felt like I failed her, and I didn't find the right drug.
This time.
I mean, she'd been with me for all this time, and she was just amazing. And I remember, just sort of starting to close my eyes and let go, and like, this is it. And I remember falling asleep and realizing that this was it. And a couple days passed, and that crazy intense chemo worked just enough. Like I squeaked by, and I remember starting to wake up and just being shocked. Like it was just like this. Like it was a lot of feelings. Like one was the shock, another was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Like I'm like, am I?
The amount of times you said it worked.
But this time I didn't say it worked.
Yeah.
Because of what happened just a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
But for me, so it was like excitement, it was shock, but then it was immediately this like sense of urgency. It was like, okay, like I've got a window. I don't know how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
But like, I got a window. And so I remember I turned to my sister Gina was on my left side, and Caitlin was on my right side. And I remember turning to Gina, and I was like, hey, G. And they were both like, oh my gosh, Dave. I was like, hey, G, can you go downstairs and see if you can get that lymph node they just cut out and send it to Philadelphia? And I was like, and Caitlin, will you call UNC and send those blood samples to Philly? And like, can you get the records to go down too? And they're both like, what? And I was like, because I'm getting out of here. I was like, and we got to find a drug for this thing.
Yeah.
And so it was about 3 weeks of me, recovering, and like, just like, I got to get to Philly. So I got to Philly, and we thawed those blood samples, or I thawed the blood samples and started doing experiments. And this is when I was now in that third bucket, which is like, what are those immune cells doing? What proteins are too high? What's going on here? And I spent about 3 weeks doing experiments, and by the end of it, I was pretty convinced that this one part of my immune system called mTOR. So your immune cells, they're all over your body, literally billions of cells. They have to communicate with one another and be able to let cells in different parts know what's going on. And one of the key communication lines in your immune system is called mTOR. And the research that I had done on my own samples suggested it was turned into overdrive. There's like too much mTOR on. You can imagine like if your fire alarm is mTOR and it's saying like there's a fire here and it's stuck in overdrive, your immune system's going to go berserk.
Yeah.
But it's, in my opinion, and the data suggested it's a false alarm. Like the alarm is going off, it's going berserk, but there's nothing to fight.
Yeah.
So when I saw this result, I got so excited because there are drugs that are called mTOR inhibitors. They've been around for decades. They actually were made for organ transplant rejection.
Yeah.
Because if you get a kidney, your immune system will attack that organ
Right.
and it'll turn mTOR on. But if you turn mTOR off, the alarm goes off and you don't attack that kidney.
Oh.
So I was like, oh my gosh, we can try an mTOR inhibitor. And so I took the data to my doctors and showed it to them, and they prescribed me this mTOR inhibitor called sirolimus.
It was like a 10-year-old drug at the time.
It was about 15-year-old. It had been on the market for 15 years.
Yeah.
Sort of known for a few decades. And yeah, now it's been over 11 and a half years that I've been doing great on this medicine.
Wow.
No relapses, full health. Yes, let's start knocking on all the wood.
Yeah.
Oh, my
The question I don't want to ask, but I got to ask is like, so many of these drugs your body kind of adapts to, right? We see this.
How long is it going to work for? Yeah, no, it's the right question. I mean, I think that what's so crazy is that it's just how long it's been. So
well,
like
to me,
Yeah.
11's like you've definitely passed that window where stuff
but
stops.
you can imagine that like every day that went by afterwards, there's sort
Oh
of
my
this
God,
like,
yeah.
like, and there's like a week goes by. And I mean, I used to measure like someone would be like, how long have you been in remission for? And I'd be like 37.29 months. And they're
Right.
like, what?
You're like someone in sobriety.
Yeah, I'm not, I can't round up, right? It's like this feeling of like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow when you're going through these sorts of things. But I know it's been like 28.29. And so the months added up. I made it to Caitlin and I's wedding day, May 24, 2014. My hair grew back just in time for the wedding. Like, it was really, it looked like a buzz cut.
Wasn't a great do, but
Back in time.
Wow.
And yeah, the months have just sort of stacked and stacked.
okay, so you come out of this, and you I don't know what in order, but you get a job as a professor at Penn.
Yep.
In the medical school.
That's right.
And you have a lab.
Yep.
And you decide to really dedicate yourself to exploring these other 18,000 diseases.
That's right.
With these 4,000 medicines that exist to see what like off-label stuff could exist. Are you immediately employing AI? When does AI enter the picture? Because it's got to be almost impossible without AI.
Yes, that's right. So the moment that sirolimus started helping me, I just remember like having these flashbacks to walking past the CVS and being like, wait a minute, it was in there. Like all those 3 years that I was like dying from this thing and all those 5 times I said goodbye to my family, like it was in that CVS. And I just never knew it. Like no one knew it. And then I'm like,
are you kind of like, why didn't all these doctors figure? I'd be mad.
You would.
Well, like I'm just in here doing my own blood and testing. Why aren't these other doctors doing that?
Because you have to, I think, you have to acknowledge how myopic the field of medicine is. You are an oncologist. You are his father's a surgeon. It's like you're not in the synthesizing generalist business. You're in the specializing business. And generalizing and synthesizing is so hard. This is why, like, people were freaked out, that Homeland Security was, like, tapping everyone's phones and stuff. It's like, it was a fucking joke. Nothing can synthesize all this information they got. Like, no one's coming, but you can gather information all you want. But to actually find patterns within information is so time-consuming and nearly impossible for a human to do.
I completely agree. And then also the incentives are the other problem for why this doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're not going to launch a new drug. Hopefully you're going to pick up another few patients, but it's going to be a few.
Exactly.
So the pharma company is not incentivized to figure this out.
That's exactly right. So once I started, like, oh my gosh, how many drugs are out there? It's like, okay, this worked for me. Are there other drugs out there for other people? And I'm just thinking about like the patients that I took care of in med school where we said, this is it. We're out of options. Like, well, maybe we weren't. Maybe there was something else. I think about my mom. Like maybe there was something that could have helped her.
I'm going to add too, it's not a sexy idea.
No, not at all.
It's like the least sexy idea.
It's like recycling old drugs.
We like inventions and breakthroughs. And we don't like hearing the fucking answer was sitting next to us the whole time.
Well, unless you have the ailment, then then it's really sexy. Like it's already here.
Yeah, of course. It's just like our nature is to want the breakthrough and the next thing and the next clinical trial and not like, hey, we already have it.
That's exactly right. The people who are doing the work are not incentivized as the patients. Like we are incentivized to do it, like because we can benefit from it, but the people actually doing the work are not going to benefit from it, or the same way that they would a new drug. So decide that, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. Like I want to find new uses for the medicines we have. I want to save people with treatments that already exist just in the same way that I was able to be saved. And so joined the faculty at Penn. And of course, we started focusing on Castleman's and other related rare inflammatory diseases, rare cancers, rare autoimmune conditions.
Because there's some weird overlap, right?
There is some weird overlap. That's exactly right. So Castleman's is very similar to multiple myeloma. It's similar to Poem syndrome. There are these weird inflammatory conditions and cancers that overlap. And so start studying them, and we start finding more repurposed drugs. I'm like, well, wait a minute, like there's more for Castleman's and there's more for like Poem syndrome. And
well, even sadly, you had recommended to another guy suffering from Castleman to take what you had just worked for you, and you were so excited to share it with him, and then it worked for a minute, but it didn't work.
That's exactly right. It worked in some Castleman's patients, not in others. I remember the first Castleman's patient that I got to see. Because we treated patients in various parts of the world, but that I actually got to see in person a young boy named Joey who responded incredibly well to it. And so, of course, Monica, you're going to laugh with me that, like, here I am again, like, we figured it out. Like, Castleman's is taken care of. Like, look at Joey. Like, done. Like, again, I literally did that again. I was like, it's working for everyone. Like, we're done with Castleman's. And then, of course, and the next patient we treated.
The conversion of this, like, he would always pop champagne. And it was like by the 20th time we saw him pop champagne, we would be laughing so hard.
I know. And so,
but you need that spirit.
I was just saying that it takes that
it's essential
type of mentality.
That's
Thank
right.
God.
So we start helping these other people, and then it's other diseases. And so like angiosarcoma, this horrible cancer, we find that there was research that was done 3 years earlier about a potential drug that could be useful for it, but it was done in the lab and it was never given to a patient. And we treat a patient with it, and it works for him. And like he has this uniformly fatal cancer, and actually this person is actually my uncle. And so that's even why I was thinking about it. My uncle Michael, he had got this horrible prognosis. Everyone dies within a year.
I hate to be
No.
This is too much stuff
I
in
know.
your
I
family. You
know.
guys all on a well?
It's
Like, I mean, at some point, I get suspicious of your
No, it's
environment.
so
This is like
unfair.
definitely
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
disproportionate amount of.
We've had a lot of suffering.
Yes.
So figure out that basically this work had been done 3 years earlier, but no one ever tried it in a patient. So we get Michael on this drug. It works incredibly well. Last month, he walked his daughter down the aisle on her wedding day 9 years later.
Wow.
This is crazy, incredible. So start giving it to other patients. It turns out it works in about 18% of patients. So it's not everyone, but
Yeah.
the
If you're one of
18% it
those-
works in, it's
Yeah.
everything. Like you're living years instead of weeks.
Wow.
And so that for me was this major eye opener because it was like the other drugs we discovered, the repurposed drugs, we did a lot of hard lab work to figure it out, like doing experiments in my blood and other people's samples. But we didn't have to do anything for Michael. We just had to find a paper that someone else had published and everyone had just disregarded because like you can't read millions of papers a year and stay on top of everything. And so here I was like, wait a minute, maybe there's actually breadcrumbs that are like already out there. So we don't even have to do all the crazy hard lab work. And so that was a really important moment for me. And so fast forward, we've over these 11 years, we've now advanced 14 repurposed drugs for a number of rare
my
diseases. We've saved
God.
thousands of lives, including angiosarcoma patients. But about 3 years ago was when artificial intelligence was really coming on the scene. And to your point, we could do 14 drugs for rare diseases, saving a few thousand lives. But AI actually would allow us to say, like, instead of looking at these few diseases, we actually can look at all 4,000 drugs and all 18,000 diseases, and we can let AI actually
And
give us a
globally.
score globally, every drug, every disease, in a way that one lab never could, one person never
Right.
could. And so that was the big unlock.
The whole school, if you dedicated
The whole school,
no,
it
couldn't
would
do
spend
that.
years to like
Yeah.
and it would be almost impossible for humans to do. So 3 years ago, my best friend from medical school, Grant, and I, and Tracy Sikora, we co-founded EveryCure, this nonprofit, with the idea being that we want a nonprofit that's on a mission to save lives with the drugs we already have. That's here to unlock the potential of the treatments we have to treat the diseases that ail us. And we use AI to actually quantify every drug to treat every disease. So there's 4,000 drugs, 18,000 diseases. That's 75 million possibilities. If you tried every drug in every disease, you do it 75 million times. We get a score from 0 to 1 for every one of them for how likely it is to work.
Yeah. So what's like the max out of that 0 to 1 range? I read that and I was just curious. Like, what do you see normally, or what's outrageous? Like a 0.7 is like, whoa, we got something. Like what how do
It's a good question. So it's a fairly linear scoring system. So like there's actually a lot of 0.9999s. And like the
Wow.
idea
Okay.
being that like we want the algorithm and like we want to look at the 0.99s. Like the whole point of the score is to always say like, what are the things at the top? And so, because if you start with Castleman's only, it's like, well, you might find the best drug for Castleman's, but is that the best drug for humanity to use? Like, is that the best match between a drug and a disease? Probably not. But if you do this like all versus all, to your point, like you can look at the things that are the 0.99s and you come across things where like, really? Like I would never thought about that. But then you dig into it deeper and you figure out how it might work.
vitamin that you've discovered had an impact on nonverbal autistic kids. This
Yes.
seems impossible.
Yeah, so a portion of kids that are nonverbal and or have other neurodevelopmental challenges, often speech delays, they actually can have a antibody against the folate receptor. So folate is important for brain development. And in order to get folate into your brain, you need this receptor to be functioning. But if you have an antibody against it, basically the vitamin doesn't cross into the brain. These kids can have what's called a cerebral folate deficiency. And so interestingly, there's a derivative of folate called folinic acid. It was made for people that are on methotrexate chemotherapy, and it's been around for decades. But that derivative of folate can actually bypass this blockage at the receptor and can get into the brain.
It like can leapfrog this whole.
Yeah, there's something called the RFC, which is a channel right next to the folate receptor. And so if the folate receptor is blocked, but if you give the derivative of folate, it can go through this channel. So basically leapfrog, get into the brain. And that was a really important discovery that humans made.
Let me ask you really quick. So that makes total sense, right? There's this thing inhibiting this vitamin required for this part of the brain to function, but in the absence of that, wouldn't that portion have already been so atrophied it couldn't be brought back? Or it's just there and it needs that as fuel?
It's a good question. We don't know the answer to it. All we know is that work's been done to show that some of these kids have too little folate. We know that the reason they have too little folate is because of the antibody receptor. And then the really interesting thing is that there have been multiple clinical trials now, all relatively small, but clinical trials that have shown that giving this derivative folinic acid can improve verbal communication in these kids.
Wow. Is it just a pill?
It's just a pill.
Yeah, give the example. Like one kid was nonverbal for 5 years, and then
Yeah, that's Ryan. Ryan was basically nonverbal for 5 years. He could do something called echolokia, where he could actually repeat if someone said something to him, he could repeat it back to them, but he could never actually share his own. He never made an executive communication where he made the decision. He had receptive communication. So he had a lot of things in his mind that he wanted to say, but he couldn't say them. Within 2 weeks of starting leucovorin, he told his dad for the first time ever a statement, and he said, "Daddy, I love you."
Oh my!
Fuck,
You
I'm
can't even
dead.
write.
Yeah, that would have killed. Like, I might have killed his dad on the spot.
His dad was like, I cried for the next 15 minutes. Like, I couldn't do
Lord.
anything.
Can you
like,
imagine?
he couldn't
Oh
even
my-
like leave the house. He's like, I'm just like.
Yeah,
this
my
is
kid's
everything.
first sentence would be like, "I want to go to Target." I think.
No, because he's been stuck wanting to say that.
And also, like,
This is-
you know, should Ryan have had behavioral issues over the years? Like, of course, if you had all your
Yeah.
thoughts and you
God,
couldn't
of
fucking get them out,
course.
I would rage.
Could you
I know.
imagine?
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
But there's been multiple success stories.
There have
with
multiple
that.
success stories. Next, there's another patient, Mason, who within a couple or 3 days of starting it, he said his first word. And just thinking about like what my kids would say, his first word was more. And I feel like that's all my kids do is ask me for more. And I was like,
That's what I would say.
that's exactly what my kids were like, more.
It's very human.
Yes.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, that's so incredible.
Isn't it incredible? Yeah, and so like this is like why we wanted to start Every Cure, because there's things that are out there, and like I love that Every Cure and AI can help us discover new treatments, and I can share about some that we've discovered. Literally, it's like, oh wow, this has never been used. That's amazing. But sometimes it just uncovers what us humans like know about, but we just don't put into practice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I want to hear those. I mean, I want two things. I want some more examples, and I also want to know, like, when I keep reading, like, you guys train this model to do this,
Yep.
but that seems.
What's that mean? Yeah.
What does that mean? How the fuck do you
Yeah,
take this tool we have and actually get it to go through every single medical journal ever written?
Yep.
Like, what's that? How do you construct that? That's its own breakthrough.
It is. So we utilize something called biomedical knowledge graph. So a knowledge graph is a way to basically construct and bring together lots and lots of information from disparate places. So imagine a knowledge graph would be if we had on the wall every drug, every disease, every gene, everything we know about medicine, all as like one node each, and then you've got lines connecting all of them based on the relationship between them. So we use every paper that's ever been written, all data we can find online, anything that we can find will fill out this graph. So every concept plus all the relationships between them. So it's like cetuximab treats Castleman disease, IL-6 elevated in Castleman's, but imagine that for everything on this graph.
Yeah.
So now this serves as the perfect ingredients to then train machine learning algorithms, because we can say, this whole graph here, this drug works for this disease. This drug works for that disease. And we train it on the known treatments. And what it'll learn is that there was a paper that was published like 3 years earlier, like an angiosarcoma, showing that this drug might work in that disease. And it did. And so like understand these patterns. And then we ask the exact same algorithm, now that we've shown it this drug works for this disease, now give us a score from 0 to 1 for how likely every other drug is to treat every other disease based on these pattern of connections.
And do we owe the Scandinavians like the biggest debt of gratitude? Aren't they the ones that have kept like the best medical data
Yeah.
and made it like it's not public, but it's public? Like
Yeah.
it's obscured, but it's all there.
Yes, Northern Europeans have done a great job with electronic medical record data.
You do
That-
these like epidemiological studies in 5 seconds.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Everyone's in the same database, which a lot of other countries, we don't have that.
I wish we would all, like, I know we all have privacy concerns, but there's got to be a way for us to make that all, like everything I've gone through with this whole
Yes.
psoriatic arthritis thing. Like I
Yes.
could save someone years
Yes,
if you could access my thing and just not know my name.
exactly.
I feel like we need to move towards that.
Yeah, I think that point that you bring up, I think gets to this, like what we were chatting about briefly before, like why is this not happening on its own? Like what's broken about our system? And I think there's a couple things that have just completely shocked me. So first of all, those 4,000 drugs we have, 80% of them are generic, which means that once a drug becomes generic, anyone can make a copy of that drug, the
Right.
exact same drug, it's the same name. And when you have 10 people making the exact same drug, the price plummets, which is good for our healthcare system. It's now a cheap drug.
Yeah.
But now it's like a penny a pill of profit per sale. And there's 10 different companies all selling what one company used to sell. So you might find that drug could work for 1 million people with another disease, and no one will make any money off of that. And like the depressing thing is that shouldn't matter. Like, because these are sick people and these are drugs, but it does matter. It's not that people are hiding. It's just that like, if you can't make any money off this thing, you can't spend millions of dollars doing clinical trials and then actually raising awareness about it. So like somehow 80% of the drugs we have, there's no incentive to find a new use for them at all. Like even though they're there and they're safe and we know how they work and we know everything about them and they're the things that are perfect for a knowledge graph because we got a lot of knowledge about them. But, and of course, everyone's using AI to find new uses for medicines, but no one's using AI to find new uses for old medicines. And so that financial problem is huge.
So real quick, before you move on to the next one, what's the solution for that one?
So we feel that the solution is to create a nonprofit that doesn't have to be driven by profit. So we've got this financial problem, which is that it's not profitable to find a new use for an old medicine. And then on top of that, we have an issue that somehow no entity has taken responsibility to be like, hey, like I know that there's this like market problem over here, but like we're the NIH or the FDA or we're some entity, we're just going to do this. Like we're just going to find new uses for medicines. And so there's just been this like huge gap. And then to your point earlier, there's also never really been the technological capability to really do this at scale. So maybe we can't blame the system too much because like it's only recent that the system could even address this. But when you bring those three things together, we have this horrible situation where there's all these drugs that could help people, all these people that are suffering, and no one doing the work to bring them together.
Wow.
But you're here now.
Thank God.
Until every cure.
Okay, so give us a couple more of, I read an article maybe in the New Yorker about a Joseph.
Coates.
Coates.
Sure. So Joseph was diagnosed with a rare cancer called Poem syndrome, and he actually was initially thought to have Castleman disease, and so that's how we initially got connected. He came to a conference, and I got a chance to meet him, but his diagnosis was changed to Poems, correctly to Poems, and a few months went by, and I hadn't heard anything about how Joseph was doing or what was going on, and then his girlfriend Tara reached out, and she said, "David, since I saw you guys last, Joseph got really, really bad, and he's in the ICU right now, and he's on life support." And this was a Friday, and by Monday, the doctors are going to take him off of life support and put him in end-of-life hospice care. And I remember just being so shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, I saw him just a few months ago. Like, he has so much life and energy and love, and just heartbroken for it. And Poem syndrome is a condition that I mentioned is in the sort of same family as Castleman's and myeloma. And so I knew enough about it to where I felt comfortable really digging in to see, like, are there drugs we could recommend for Joseph? I know that, like, his doctors are ready to give up, but, like, can we just try something? And so I was able to get in touch with his doctor on that Saturday. And his doctor graciously called me back on a Saturday. And I recommended 3 drugs that are typically used for multiple myeloma, which, again, is a similar cancer to Poem syndrome that doctor hadn't considered, which again, like in hindsight, it's like, let's be creative here. Let's like, just because it's like, yes, there's nothing for Poems, but like, let's look to the side of Poems. And he, thankfully he listened to me and he's like, well, I'll talk to the family and I'll talk to my colleagues and, maybe we'll try them. But he was actually very worried about the fact that the chemotherapy that we were recommending was going to kill Joseph. And I talked to him, I said, but you're going to take him off life support on Monday. So he's going to die from his disease. Let's give him a shot. Like, let's try this. Because once you take him off life support, he's going to die. And so he made the decision to try these 3 drugs. And we just like sort of waited, for the next few days, like, what are we going to find out? And then within a few days heard that things started to improve. And I can't tell you how special it is.
Champagne out.
Exactly.
And cigar tips.
He responded. He got out of the hospital. And then what's so amazing is that Poem syndrome is a condition where if you can get into remission like we got him into, we did a stem cell transplant for him. And so he's potentially even cured right now. So like I saw him just a few weeks ago and he's got the most incredible energy and he's so positive and he's like got his life back. And so So this is, I should also mention, this is an example, and at every cure, the way that we work is so we scan every drug against every disease with our AI platform. Our med team finds the best matches, and then we move them forward. We do lab studies, we do clinical trials. We have this whole systematic approach to fix this system problem. And then also in parallel, we get contacted by patients like Joseph and Tara that I struggle so much because like I want to help them and I want to throw the Hail Mary in the same way that like we did a Hail Mary for me, right?
Yes.
And at the same time, we have this like systematic process where we've got a 50-member team where we're using AI. We have to focus on that. Like we've got this
Right.
responsibility from like a systems level because there's people at the other end of these drugs that we're working on that are waiting for solutions. But then there's also people who are reaching out to us like Tara and
Yes.
Joseph. And that's probably the biggest struggle that I have is how do I balance the two? Because like we've got an amazing team, but our team can't actually pursue every disease that we're contacting.
I hate to be crude, but you could be penny wise and pound foolish.
I think that's the right analogy here.
Yeah.
And so what we have to do is we have to say, okay, if you match every drug to every disease, like what are the best opportunities? We have 9 programs already. We launched this nonprofit 3 years ago. We built our platform over the first couple of years. We've only been using the pipeline for 12 months. And we already have 9 drug disease matches that we're advancing forward from breast cancer.
Yeah, there's this lidocaine thing, which is
Yes.
bizarre. Tell Monica about
what's
this.
that?
Yeah, so amazingly, there's really interesting both laboratory and clinical data on the potential role that lidocaine injection could play in individuals with breast cancer. So lidocaine is the numbing medicine you get when you go to the dentist, right? So injecting it around a breast cancer tumor before surgery, there was a large trial that was done in India of 1,600 patients, and those patients who had it injected around their tumor before surgery had a 29% reduction in mortality at 5 years versus people who didn't. They had lidocaine, like this simple substance,
Yeah.
and it was published in a major journal called the Journal of Clinical Oncology, one of the best cancer journals in the world. And so, we're looking at it in our platform, it comes through our pipeline, and we're like, people must be using this, right? It's like super cheap and it's widely available. But then we learned that like no one is using this. Like it's the paper's out there, the study's done, and the general consensus from a lot of folks is like, well, you guys should do another study, another 7-year study, and see how people are doing. And like the question is like, do we need to do another
Why?
7-year study?
Yeah.
It's already proven to
And
be.
it's a randomized controlled trial. This is
Yeah.
like it's already going to be used in the surgery.
Yeah.
And so what we are doing more lab work now, because the other thing that doctors like is to understand like why something might work. That sometimes leads them to like, because like, oh, we injected lidocaine and people did, they died less. It's like, well, why? We like doctors like to know
What's
why.
the mechanism?
So we are doing lab work to try to figure out the mechanism. We've got some hypotheses. One is that we believe that, or there's a lot of evidence to suggest that during the actual act of surgery to cut out a tumor, whether it's breast cancer or you name the tumor, that's apparently a moment when a number of cancer cells become very migratory. They basically try to escape from the region, and it's partly because there's decreased blood flow, because there's trauma that's occurring to the area. So the thought is that there's actually metastases that occur while you're operating. It's
surgery.
actually
Wow.
migration. And of course, this is a hypothesis, but it's something we're studying. So the idea for how lidocaine may work is that lidocaine is very good at making cells non-migratory. It literally, if you inject it numbs it,
freezes
it
them.
freezes, like it
Yeah.
stops it from moving. So the thought is that maybe we prevent what would have been a future metastasis to your liver or you
Interesting.
name it from being able to get out of the space before the surgery happens.
Wow.
You're like kind of paralyzing.
Paralyze it. And you actually do the injection 8 to 10 minutes before surgery. So you're like paralyzing it, then you cut it out. And at least in these patients in India, it was a game changer.
we
Wow.
trust India.
Yeah, we like that.
So these are the kinds of things that like we would have never thought to look for. Like
That's-
lidocaine, breast cancer, we would have never
One
thought.
that blew my mind is like Botox in the frowning,
Yes.
because that is a cycle, as we know. The people that were famously documenting all the face shapes
Yes.
were giving themselves emotions, and this is a
Yes.
two-way street. And just numbing the ability to frown can have an impact on depression, maybe.
That's
This is
exactly right.
Crazy.
And yeah, so this idea with Botox is there's actually have been clinical studies that for about 3 to 4 months after a Botox injection right here between your eyebrows, there's improvement in mood for 3 to 4 months. And so
I mean, shit's
it's
getting wild.
it
crazy.
is, right? And so we got to figure this stuff out. I mean, maybe one of my favorite examples of our 9, so we actually just talked through 2 of our 9 programs, but one of my favorite ones is this rare condition called Bachman-Bupp. So kids are born on feeding tubes. They're unable to move. It's a horrible condition. And it's because they have too high of levels of an enzyme called OCE1. And so what's so interesting is that African sleeping sickness is a condition that involves elevated levels of OCE1. So there's a drug called DFMO that blocks OCE1 for African sleeping sickness. Well, it turns out that OCE1 is also too high in these poor kids that are bedbound on feeding tubes. If you give that drug DFMO to these kids, and there's now been about 10 kids treated, the earlier you give it to them in life, the more likely they might have their feeding tube taken out. They might sit up. They can even walk. And so, like, for me, this is. I keep saying this is why we start every year. Every one of these is why we start every year. But this is it, right? It's like this super rare disease, this super cheap drug that's been around for decades.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to do the work to get it to every patient possible. But we at Evercare, we can do that. Like we can get involved in trying to diagnose more kids to make sure that more kids get DFMO.
Yes.
It's like this is what for us, why we did this.
Well, okay, so Every Cure, if people want to support Every Cure, what should they do?
You can go to everycure.org/donate
Okay.
to donate to us. Also, a big part of this is awareness raising. So, like, thinking about some of the drugs we've talked about and even others that we're working on, part of it is doing really good science, great lab work, like great clinical trials. But another part is actually just getting the word out. Like, hey, if you know someone who might be able to have this blood test, that might be helpful for someone in their family.
Yeah.
So just go into our website, learn about our organization, help to spread the word. I did a TED Talk that came out about a month ago. Spread the word about that. Like, these are the kinds of things that, like, actually amazingly, like, patients will benefit because we tweeted something, right? Like that's this amazing world where, like, the work's already been done, the drugs are there. So just get
You're
the
married.
word
How
out.
often does your wife come home and it's like, we got to eat kale now? And you're like, how'd you find that out?
Yeah, exactly,
right? Like, my whole diet is based on
Yes.
whatever someone's told my wife that is good for us now.
Exactly.
And then, of course, people should read your book, Chasing My Cure. It's wonderful. And it's rare that I can say this to somebody, but I'm so happy you didn't make it in the NFL.
Oh my God.
Congratulations on not
Thank
going to the
God.
NFL.
Well,
We needed
And
you
not
way
getting
more.
CTE.
As
right.
in, I knew we wouldn't make it through. I was waiting.
We're just lucky that you didn't get it because you wouldn't be able to do all this.
Very true. Maybe there's a drug to repurpose.
Exactly.
David, this has been a delight, and I hope everyone does check out your book and checks out the website. And I'm totally grateful this is the work you're doing. And again, every time we're getting really negative and pessimistic about AI, it's also doing this. It's like doing this shit with this.
Exactly.
Humans could never do.
Exactly.
Can't comb through all that stuff. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything.
Well, thanks so much for having me. This has been so special.
So
Thanks, guys.
fun.
Stay tuned for the fact check. It's where the party's at.
Okay, so I have huge Aaron updates.
Okay.
Okay, so Aaron was there for, I think, 5 days.
He already went?
He flew home this morning.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
he didn't fall down?
Well, listen, in order, each evening I would FaceTime him,
Okay.
even before he started. And I said, look, and what's the game plan for this, like the second story Eve on the roof, I said, you need to rent like a bucket. If you want to rent a bucket, let me know. I'll figure that out. And he said, no, I think I'm going harness and ropes.
Okay, I like that. But what's that mean? You put yourself in kind of a diaper.
Yeah, you put yourself in a leather diaper
And
or
then
a nylon diaper.
You use a carabiner.
Yeah, and then you hook off onto the roof.
What to what?
Exactly. So the issue with the house in Nashville is it has a metal roof. So you can't do what he would have done when he was a roofer, which is like anchor it to the top, just screw into the wood.
Oh.
So he had to lasso the chimneys.
What?
Yes. But this plan wasn't, I think wisely, like I would have done. He just kept putting off the height,
Sure.
the really tall
The
work.
hard part.
He just kept like working in the yard and doing trees and doing like fences and stuff and just, I think, eyeing all week. And so each night, but he's up and down a ladder, he's doing a lot of ladder stuff.
Oh my God.
And then I would look at the cameras at the house just to see if he was lying anywhere on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
And then I would FaceTime him every night,
Mm-hmm.
which was so fun. Just to have an excuse to have to FaceTime every single night.
Yeah.
I want to make up a reason why I have to do that.
I think friendship can be the reason.
I know, but there's something more organic about it. It was like, okay, good, you're alive. And then I'd hear about everything he did that day. And all right, so did you look at the pictures?
Okay. I see him on top. Wow. This is so dangerous.
Yes. Aaron looks like an ant on top of the roof.
Who's taking these pics?
Chris, the contractor, happened to stop by for something else. And he sees Aaron way on the top. Look at the one of Aaron crawling up.
I know. That's so scary. Dax.
I want him to almost be a decoration. Like, wouldn't it be funny if there was we had a person, like a dummy up there putting it on?
Yeah.
Okay, now if you go to the last picture in that group, do you see Aaron lying on the...
Yeah, on the roof.
Okay, so he did fall.
No! Aaron. And by the way, he's not wearing the helmet, so he does not get $500 from me.
Okay, but look how happy he is. Zoom in on his face.
No.
This is textbook Aaron. So Aaron, he had this long rope, but the problem was the chimney is not centered to where he needs to be on the high point. So he's using this rope kind of diagonally. And he's in his mind, he's like, oh yeah, I mapped this out perfectly. Like if I fall, it's going to catch me on the second story. Well, no, the rope was longer than he anticipated, and he fell down to the first story. But he did land right before he would have gone
On the
off
ground,
edge.
yeah.
He is taut. I said, are you hurt? I was talking to him on my ride to my meeting last night. I said, you get hurt? And he goes, oh my God, no, I feel great. No problem. Then he sent me this picture about an hour later from the shower. I'm going to send it to you. And this is from his harness.
No, it's not. That's from his fall.
Well, yeah, the harness tightening when he fell.
That looks horrible. He's hurt.
I know, but he just doesn't care. But I also know what it's like to be him, which is like this stuff just doesn't even register. It's like, I wanted to get those lights up there. I got them up there. I don't really care about the thing. Okay, now watch the video coming into the house. And I'm going to watch it with you. That's in fast forward. He's not really driving 100 in my neighborhood. He just wanted you to see what the neighbors have going before you saw what we have going.
They do. Wait, that's yours?
Yes.
The yellow and the blue?
Look at this place. It's like Descanso Gardens.
Oh my God.
It's truly Clark Griswold.
Wow, Aaron.
Can you believe
He
this?
did such an amazing job.
It's like an amusement park. Chris is like, you should charge $20 for people to walk through your yard this Christmas. Can you believe it? I'm like, Aaron, no one has ever over-delivered this much. My expectations versus what he did.
That looks so good. It looks stylized. Like he didn't just throw a bunch of shit everywhere.
Right. He put some real thought into it.
Yeah. Wow. Good job, Aaron.
So for people who don't remember our custom for Thanksgiving with our friendship group, we do something called Secret Turkey.
Yes.
I presume you've been assigned somebody.
Yes.
And have you been working on it yet? Or
Yes.
You have?
I have. I finalized my idea yesterday, and I put it a little bit into action, but there's a lot more steps, and I'm nervous about running out of time.
Because it's next week?
Yeah, it's a week from Thursday.
Okay, I got to get cooking on mine too. I have the base of mine, but then I need to get artistic on top of it.
The rule is you have to make it.
Okay.
Right? Like that's our rule.
Yeah.
And I feel
or
like
customize.
Well,
something
yeah.
about.
So I feel like I'm blurring the line a little bit this year on that.
Me too.
A little. Okay, you too. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know who you have, but I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to know either. You like spoilers or not? Lincoln loves spoilers.
Yeah, she loves that.
And I don't like it.
I don't either.
And she'll ask me, like, we're watching a movie I've already seen. She's like, well, what happens about it? And I'm like, I don't want to tell you.
I
You really
know.
want to know?
Yeah.
And she really wants to know.
Yeah, it must be anxiety in a movie or something, maybe.
Yeah, or just impatience. I think more impatient.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a quality of mine, impatience, that I definitely think I passed on.
But you don't want to know.
I don't. And that might be a product of getting older, which is there's so few surprises anymore
It's true.
in life. You got to really kind of protect them. So, like, I never want to know. I mean, I virtually don't even want to ever open presents on Christmas.
Yeah.
What I love is the anticipation of
I know.
presents.
It is exciting.
Yeah. Post presents is,
Sad.
it's sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to make up an excuse for why
You're going to
you got to go
Staples.
home.
Why you got to go to Staples. Yeah, because yesterday I walked in the house and Lincoln was there and she was working on something. She was like, oh, I want to show you. And she showed me and it was her secret turkey.
Yeah.
And she was like, I have. And she said, who do you have? Like with no, like, I know we're not supposed to say, like,
No.
she just feels like we're going to say it.
That's right.
I did tell her.
You
I,
did? Oh,
yeah,
you
because
felt-
I felt kind of weird being like, no, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, she cornered you.
I told her, and I told her my whole idea.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure to not ask her. I'll make sure to not find out from her.
Yeah, don't let her tell you about mine.
Was it done? No, it couldn't have been done because when I got home last night from my meeting, she was just kind of finishing, and it was mind blowing. Like I don't know what career exists in making dioramas, but boy, that is her crazy superpower.
Skill.
She makes so many dioramas.
She's very artsy.
And the tree has lighting in it and stuff.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, her and Aaron, they could get together and really start a business. She could make a model of your house, what it'll look like when it's done. And then Aaron could execute it. And then you get the model
I was
afterwards.
just thinking that. Then you have a small version of it
and it's
inside.
like $55,000 instead of...
Instead of 5.
Because of the model.
Oh, do you guys take down everything the day after Christmas?
Oh, God, no.
Okay, yeah. Some people are like, it's over and we're done.
Good for those people. No, you got to go after New Year's, man.
That's how I feel.
You're going to be entertaining and having people over. Okay, so I have a correction to make.
Okay.
And this is, I'll take responsibility, even though I think we were on the same page with what the lyrics were. Dax, I was screaming in my car. The Nair lyrics are, who wears short shorts? We wear short shorts. If you dare wear short shorts, Nair for short shorts.
Nair for.
And they're using Nair as a verb there, even though it is a noun because it's a proper noun name of a product. They are using it as a verb. Nair for short shorts. Nair yourself. Or sure, I guess it works both ways.
Yeah, it could still be the product.
So it's not Nair wears short shorts.
Okay, well, I guess I'm happy because that didn't make any sense to us.
I'm sad. I liked it more when it was Nair wears short shorts, as if Nair wears shorts.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's cute if there's little shorts on the bottle.
Big time.
That's adorable.
But I do appreciate Taryn Gradell correcting us.
I like that. Do we think Nair is still on the market?
Rob?
Checking. Still have a website. Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay.
Oh, great.
I kind of feel like allegedly it had some stuff in it that was like not so great.
Well, if it's interesting, it burns your hair off your body, but it doesn't hurt your skin. What a product. You gotta tip your hat to the folks at Nair that they figure out how to burn hair off your body without hurting your skin.
I guess the question is, does it hurt your skin?
I remember using it once and it hurt my skin.
Oh.
Do you know what's so interesting about my unibrow?
Oh, yeah, what?
I think it started coming in when I was like in
is that how you
high
say
school
it?
Unibrow. What do you say?
I mean, it is. But
Unibrow?
No, you're right, but it sounds cute the way you're saying it. I think I'm like, she has, have you seen her? She has a unibrow. Unibrow. I say unibrow.
But that doesn't make sense, right? Because there's no A in uni.
That's how I say it too.
You say unibrow?
Yeah, unibrow.
Okay. And I want you guys to continue to say it that way, but I do think in this rare case, I'm saying it correctly and you guys are saying it incorrectly. Okay, the point is...
But I think it's funny. Okay, go.
My una or e-brow started coming in probably 9th grade or something. I started getting insecure about it.
Yeah.
And I started shaving it.
Oh.
Which is dicey. And a lot of boys shaved it in my school. And you can see them be stubble. And it's terrible. So I was like, this doesn't work. Because you see it grow in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I used Nair, I think.
You did?
Yeah, I think I did. And I remember in between my brows being very red and irritated and me thinking, oh, Jesus, do I have a burn now between? That's not better.
You got a chemical burn.
Chemical burn,
because this skin is so sensitive.
Very
Face
thin.
skin is extremely sensitive. It's like silk, they say.
Is that what they say?
They say. And you don't want to be pouring chemicals on silk.
Never.
Almost never.
I never put Nair on my silk, even if I have a tough, stubborn stain on my silk.
Yeah, you don't want to. Now, you never, I guess like the boys in 9th grade weren't even thinking about plucking.
No, so then I switched to plucking.
Yes.
In my, probably by the time I'm a senior or 20s or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All this to say, Monica, I don't do anything to it now.
And it's gone.
It's fucking gone.
Yeah.
And it's been gone for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm so confused because hair is just proliferating all over my body in the most offensive way.
Right.
I told you, it's like when I work out, half my workout is seeing different hairs because the light's coming from behind me and I'm in front of a mirror.
Sure.
I'm like, my God, I'm turning into a werewolf.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the uniture, the middle part of the unibrow, went away in an era of great hair growth.
So I agree, though. Even for me, like,
Have you had that experience?
yeah, I mean, every now and then I'll like have to like pluck a little bit, especially on the sides, but the middle is
It's free.
done. Yeah.
And it used to have some action?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think there is something to when you pluck a lot
They give up.
an area. Yeah.
They give up.
They give up. That's why people were so worried, girls of my gen would overpluck our eyebrows like crazy. And it was just this like teeny tiny thin line. That was what was in.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of fear once bushier eyebrows were back in, they would never come back.
Right. But they did.
They kind of did.
Yeah.
For me anyway. But yeah, the uni is
Retired. It'll retire.
It retires.
I wonder why it thinks you need it in your youth and not in your old age. Must have been a very attractive thing at some point.
Maybe.
It showed your virility or something.
Well,
Thick
testosterone.
patch. Sure. T.
Very virile.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But mine's gone.
Do you think, at one point, like the female unibrow was considered hot?
Yeah.
I guess Frida. She was hot.
Yeah. May almost had it and she looked great. Like she would on Parenthood, she had bushy eyebrows and she would comb them towards each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked so cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
You you really, the power to decide you're cute and it's infectious is really one of the miracles on earth.
What if they start doing like implants?
Merkins.
Yeah, Merkins.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, we got to talk about it.
Okay.
Skims has a Merkin.
Yeah, tell me more. Tell me all about it.
Skims has a thong. The front is covered in hair.
Okay.
And then there's different colors and there's different textures. There it is.
Interesting. So blue is an option.
Well, I think that's black. Is
okay.
it? Yeah.
Photographed a little blue, but that's okay.
It did.
And the other one looks like camel hair.
Yeah,
on the
one's
bottom.
red. I don't really understand that.
Well,
but...
that's red on the head, fire in the hole.
Oh, that's a red
Do the curtains
match the
carpet?
See how they're different textures? Like one's curly, one's straight, one's like fuzzies.
Yes.
By the way, you can't get any of these.
Oh, you can't?
No, they're all sold out, which I find I love Skims. And I want them to send this to me.
Yeah, send it to Monica. I was going to say, I want to see someone in them. Obviously not you. That would be in the realm of, what were you going to have to put your thumb in my butt to save my life as a coworker?
The things we talk about.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to see someone in this. Maybe Rob.
Okay.
Good to see Rob in this.
I think you should see Kristen in it.
Yeah.
Because that's the best case to know if like it actually
is erotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says it's an actual pair of underwear. I mean,
anything's erotic.
It's called faux hair micro string thong. It's totally sold out.
Yeah.
I would like Skims to send me one. Now, I do have a question. I've never seen a red-headed pube.
Uh-huh.
Would it possibly be that red?
No.
It wouldn't, right?
Well, I've had some redheaded lovers.
Yeah.
And I've had the great pleasure and joy of seeing red pubis.
Uh-huh.
They're lovely.
But aren't they more orange?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be my guess.
yeah.
Even red hair isn't that color.
No, unless it's been augmented.
Okay, the one I think I should try is
well, blonde though, that's kind of mixed messages.
It's like fun mixed messages.
Yeah.
They have like a white blonde one. They also have, let me look. Let me see what I want.
Okay.
I want two. I want three.
Okay, great.
I want the Cocoa Blonde Straight.
Mm-hmm.
That's this.
Oh, yeah, great. Exciting.
Okay. Then I want Cocoa Ginger Curly.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I'm interested in Cocoa Brown Straight. out.
That's the bottom one there.
Yeah.
That one looks a little coarse, doesn't it, though? Like horse hind?
Does, but to me, that looks the most
realistic.
real.
Mhm.
But it's not my coloring, so I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that could be fun for people. Keep them guessing.
And this one is closest to me, that middle one, Cocoa Black Curly.
So that's what you
Ew.
want. Oh, wow, Rob. We have a
found the
real
Cocoa Black Curly for
extra
you.
close-up of the...
The brown
It looks
hair.
beautiful.
It
Looks like
looks
hay.
itchy. Yeah,
it looks like hay.
It looks itchy.
Stabby.
It really looks like pointy.
Well, you'll have to send those to Monica, and then we'll get a full update on
Yes,
how
Skims,
they worked
please send
out.
me these. Cocoa Black Curly I would like because I want to see how realistic it is.
Oh, there's got little hints of gray hair in there.
I
It
know.
seems like. That's fun.
No, that will depress
elderly.
me. That will depress me.
People's pubic hair does turn gray.
I know. I've heard that.
Mine
So-
hasn't
me
yet,
either.
luckily. Still look youthful.
Wow. Will you let us know when yours starts to turn?
Turn gray.
Yeah.
Be a sad day. I'll report it. There's that old allegory. There's a very famous story, right, about a king with one gray hair. As soon as you get a gray hair, you can no longer be king. Do you know this? It's a very
no,
famous story.
I don't know it. I don't know it. What happens?
He's either, well, he can't be king anymore, and he might even have to die. I don't know. Or turns it over to his son immediately when there's a gray hair. So he's living in this great fear of one gray hair.
Oh.
Yeah, and that teaches you some kind of lesson, but I don't know what it is.
It feels like you should be afraid if you're going to get killed or dethroned.
Yeah, it's a legitimate fear.
Yeah,
But it's
I
supposed to
don't-
teach you an important lesson.
We
It's
just
the
don't know.
messenger of death sent by the god of death. And the king immediately understands the implication is youth, middle age, and old age are coming to an end, and death is imminent.
Ooh.
I still don't understand the lesson.
The core moral of the story is that even a long life is too short to waste on mere worldly pleasures and power. One must recognize the signs of aging and mortality and dedicate oneself to a life of wisdom and righteousness.
Ah.
Interesting.
Okay, wow, this is a ding, ding, ding. This is really ringing a bell.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so my weekend, now I'm going to violate it, but I'm not really violating it. You might think I'm violating it, but I swear I'm not.
Okay.
Because I'm not telling any of the people involved, and
Okay.
that's the key.
Okay.
And no one involved in this will listen to this, nor will it get to them. So my weekend was 100% of service.
Great.
We had a thing on Friday night I had to drive to sit through. I had a volleyball game. Then I had a birthday party. I had to drive someone out there. Then I had to sit in my car for an hour and a half while someone was at a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a show, a thing at the thing. I mean, it was the whole weekend. And I found myself wanting to call attention to what a sacrifice I had been making. That was my instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And that I wanted it to be known that I hadn't done anything I wanted to do this weekend.
Right.
And I remembered my great therapist, Mark, telling me, listen, as a man, you can think this, but you shan't say this.
Mm-hmm.
You shan't ever say, what about me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's solid advice for a man.
I like that.
Yeah, it's the path we need to walk, us men. And it should be walked. And I just kept hearing the voice in my head all weekend, like, you're not going to mention at all that you haven't done anything but drive people around on your limited 2 days off.
Yeah.
And I achieved that goal. And then on the flip side of the coin was I had done something abnormally generous for me for virtually a stranger.
Okay.
And then I was like, and you can't tell anyone. And I was like, I'm going to call my mom and tell her.
Oh,
That's what I wanted to do.
great.
I'm like, I'm not going to tell any of my friends I did this.
Great.
I don't want my children to know. Kristen had to know because we share finances. And I had to talk myself out of
Telling your mom.
telling my mom.
Oh.
And I decided, you're old, man. It's time to stop doing anything.
Looking for.
And so that you'll be
Claps.
observed doing it. Applause, validation.
Yeah.
We love you. You're so good. When is it just going to be for you?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just do things that you know give you esteem
Yeah.
and leave it at that? That's a hard challenge for me.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to admit.
Yeah.
Like to do things secretly that only fill me up and only I know we're good
Right.
is I think the last chapter I should hope to achieve
Yeah, that's great.
on my evolution on this planet. But that reading just made me think of that entirely. Like it's time for wisdom. It's time for other things.
Oh, that king.
And for me in my life, it's time to just do things
Yeah. with the
quietly for me.
Yeah.
And it feels pointless, which is crazy. That's how deep the exhibitionism of my soul is.
It feels pointless to help.
If I only know.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it doesn't feel pointless to the person that I help,
right.
of course.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
that should be enough.
But opening my imagination to a world where no one ever knows if I did something good is shockingly
hard.
Absent of the normal reward I'm
seeking,
used to giving, or just the operation.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's really tripping me out.
Yeah, that's a great goal.
Yeah, and it's harder than I want it to be.
Yeah, but this kind of circles back to something we talked about a few weeks ago, the give for fun and for free. Like, that's what it is about.
I know. I guess, like, I don't feel very judgmental of myself because, like, look, again, we're like this super social animal, and our reputation is everything. In a group.
Yeah.
Are you benevolent or are you selfish? Like, these are key things we need to know about each other if we're going to trust each other. So naturally, we want people to see when we're benevolent.
I know.
And we pray they don't see when we're selfish and shitty.
Yes.
Because we have to keep our standing in our group.
I know, but I guess it's
like life or death.
The catch-22 of it, though, and this isn't fair, but this is true, is displaying you're benevolent or generous, like stating it, has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
It makes people think like, no, you're not, because you had to do that. Like it takes away from the act itself. I think
there's some artistry to it. There is a way for you to let people find out stuff you've done that's good that isn't overtly braggy. Like, if someone's overtly braggy, yeah, it's immediately distasteful.
Mm-hmm.
But if you find out that Eric put a kid through college, you're like super proud of Eric.
That's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and you would want to say to him, like, that was rad, dude. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
And so there's a way for Eric to get that out that's not gross.
But I don't think so. Like, I think if he has a hand in saying it, it does take away. I think, though, I think people do find out, whether you say it or not.
Yeah.
People will find out other people's level of generosity, whether they are affected or not, or told or not. I don't know. I think it's clear.
Yeah.
And it way more clear when the person is keeping it to themselves.
Yeah, it's a really powerful force to do things secretly.
Yeah. It's a good goal.
It is.
I like it.
And but again, so me saying that there seems to be no reward on the other side of it is also me saying, like, oh, this is interesting, because I know there is a reward, but I can't even imagine it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting and fun, because I'm so locked into this architecture of, like, people approve of you.
Yeah, the reward.
That's how you know you're doing the right thing. It's like people approve of you.
Yeah, the reward is that you know you're good.
Right, and that's where I think the growth is that why don't I value it all if I think I'm good?
Yeah, exactly. And why do you need other people to think it if you know it's true?
Yes. Why doesn't my opinion about myself matter at all? Unless it's negative, then I think it's very important.
Right.
Like when I'm self-flagellating, I think I'm the most astute observer of me in the world.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think I am going into it with a blind faith that one day I'll wake up and go, oh, this is the reward.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a bit of a blind faith pivot.
Yeah, I like that.
I think I've been slowly moving in that direction. But for whatever this weekend just was like compounded, two things I would have normally done is like called my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mommy, I was a good boy.
I think
I turned out to be good like you hoped I would be.
I think of all the people to tell, your mom
is safest.
Yeah.
Which is why it was hard to talk myself out of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could have done that.
No, I'm not gonna.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some facts. Okay. David Fajgenbaum, I only have one fact. He was extremely factual.
He sure was.
The only thing I did look up was, does glioblastoma affect women more than men?
Oh, yeah.
It's more common in men than women.
Oh my God. Well, this is why anecdotal info is misleading.
That's
It just
true.
so happens in my life I've known a lot of women
Yeah.
and none men.
Men are about 60% more likely to develop the tumor. While the exact reasons are still being researched, this disparity is not believed to be solely due to sex hormones. Anyway, it's not fully understood.
It's horrific. I know that part.
I know. It's because, unfortunately, one of our very good friends has had multiple people affected by this, died of it. She once taught me that, like, it's like the shape of the tumor. It has, like, kind of spikies,
What are those
which make
kinda,
it hard to remove.
Oh, what are those kind of? They look like cauliflowers, but they're pointy at the end. Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're green normally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're beautiful.
Romanesco
Yes,
cauliflower.
Romanesco what?
Cauliflower.
Cauliflower. God, is that impossibly gorgeous? Nature, let's all give it up. Round of applause
It
for
is
nature.
pretty.
Isn't that impossibly
It
beautiful?
looks like tiny Christmas trees.
Tiny Christmas trees, also coral, sea coral.
Sure. It is wild that nature made that.
Yeah.
And like nature makes pineapples. Like that's crazy.
Oh, and the symmetry you see and crystals and all these things, like the
Yeah.
shapes it can make.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's pretty cool.
I'm really grateful for you, nature. I hope you're a listener.
One other thing I did look up because he talked about folic acid for nonverbal autism. So when I got diagnosed with epilepsy,
Yeah.
he told me, so I got put on the Keppra, my doctor, my neurologist, great man, Dr. Steven Sykes, love him.
Beautiful man.
Beautiful man. He said if I'm thinking about getting pregnant ever, that I should take folic acid being on this medication and having epilepsy.
Okay.
I didn't really know why. He probably told me, but my brain was a little fucked up. So then I just looked. Should you take folic acid if you have epilepsy? Yes. People with epilepsy, especially women of childbearing age, should take folic acid. But the appropriate dose must be determined with a doctor. Prevents neural tube defects and other birth defects in children, and can also be deficient in those taking certain anti-epileptic drugs.
I take it and I don't have epilepsy.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. It's part of my regime.
You like the taste?
No, I don't like any of it. I constantly am complaining at night. It takes me like 30 minutes extra to go to bed because of all the stuff I'm doing to try to stay alive longer. And I lament it. I'm like, God, it's a lot of
And you're
work to
actually
stay.
taking time out of your life. What if we added up the amount of time
And
you're
it was a
taking?
push. I would have rather had the TV time.
All
right, love you.
All right, love you.